Hello, 7th grade. Here's what you are going to be working on today, Wednesday, in ELA class. You should go ahead and log into Canvas, and then once you get to our homepage, please scroll down. It hasn't loaded, but there should be a dragon right here on your screen where it says Fantasy Mini Unit. Go ahead and click on that, please. And then you should see 3 assignments in our Fantasy Mini Unit. At this point, you should have already taken a look at the common elements of the fantasy genre, and most likely you have finished the movie trailer activity. So now you are going to start working on the short story activity. So go ahead and open up that document or that assignment. And it says, after reviewing the common features of fantasy checklist and watching some fantasy movie trailers, you're now going to analyze some fantasy short stories to see how they fit into this genre. Make a copy of this document, read the short stories, and record your notes. Once done, submit this document. All right, so go ahead and make click on that document to make a copy. And it should look just like this. All right, so it says, read the linked short stories. They're linked in blue below. These are both examples of literature that fall under the fantasy genre. Then briefly describe why each story would fit into the fantasy genre. You may use your fantasy story element cards as a reference. Those are actually on your desks. They are red, green, and yellow and laminated. Or you can go back to Canvas and use the first assignment in our fantasy module, which is common elements of the fantasy genre. You can use that document as well, okay? So you can use this as a reference. Add the elements that you see in the stories to the chart that is provided. If nothing is shown for one of the categories, simply leave that box empty. Okay, so it's very similar to what you did with the movie trailers, but we're doing this with short stories. So you're going to need to open up this document, read it, and then describe why the setting, why the main character, the themes, the conflict, and the resolution all show examples of the fantasy genre. Okay. While you are reading this first short story, which is called The Wizard and the Hopping Pot, you're also going to be looking for 5 specific words in the text and practicing the use of context clues to figure out what the words mean. Now, these words are generously, disposition, quarreled, brim, and permitted. Also, I fully recognize that you are working on your computers and have access to dictionary.com. So, if your dictionary definition or if your definition sounds a lot like something from a dictionary and is clearly not in your own words, we're going to have some issues here. So make sure you are just figuring out what these words mean based on how they are used in the text, okay? Based on its use in context. So describe what generously means in this specific story. Describe what disposition means in this specific story. So you're going to do that for short story number 1, The Wizard and the Hopping Pot. And then when you're done with that one, if you do finish that today, which I expect you will, you can move on to short story number 2, The Tale of the Three Brothers. And it's the same thing. Setting, main character, themes, conflict, and resolution, and how these parts of the story show fantasy elements, and then the 5 context clues words. One quick note, you'll notice that both of these are short stories written by the author J.K. Rowling. These are short stories from the Tales of Beedle the Bard, which is a book that actually exists inside of the Harry Potter world. So it's a book that wizards in the Harry Potter world read when they were growing up, kind of like our books of fairy tales. So they're kind of like fairy tales with morals that wizards used in Harry Potter to teach children. So I think that about covers it. This is your assignment for today. Go ahead and get started.